What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today I've got for you guys some new info about the Rise of Iron expansion I got here at E3. So I got to sit down with Deej from Bungie, who I'm sure you guys already know, and we had a chat about the new expansion, asked a few questions. In this video I'll be going over everything we talked about and all things he was allowed to tell me about the expansion. So my first question was about the decision to no longer provide DLC for the legacy consoles, which I knew is something you guys and everyone in the Destiny community would definitely be interested to find out about. So Deej replied saying they've added so much with the Dark Below, the House of Walls and even the Taken King that in terms of playable locations and things to do, the Rise of Iron of course has more of that, and they've reached a point where the legacy consoles physically couldn't handle anymore, and it would require taking things away from their experience. He mentioned how in year 1 it was a balancing act with the vault space, and how you guys might remember that back in year 1 they had to remove the comparison ability, and simply they would need to take more things away in terms of playable experiences and levels, and obviously that can't happen when you've got new players who are just hopping in and might be wondering why there's an incomplete year 1 and 2 and they're missing missions and locations. So it seems like it's a technical issue. They physically cannot put the brand new Plaguelands area and all this stuff in the Rise of Iron in without taking some more stuff away. So that's how it seems to go, and of course they will be supporting the legacy consoles still with any game breaking bugs or issues. If there's an issue, they're going to patch it and still support them, but of course to play Rise of Iron and the future expansions you need to upgrade to PS4 or Xbox One. So my next question was more a general thing about how do you decide where to go with the story in terms of like a Cabal expansion or a Hive expansion, and what was the inspiration to actually pick the Iron Lords and the story about the Fallen we've never actually expected. And he said the Saladin and the Iron Banner has been around since the beta, and every month since Destiny the Iron Banner's come around. Lots of people always ask what is the deal with Iron Banner and why is Lord Saladin here, what are we doing? So they wanted to expand on that storyline and tell what Iron Banner really is. And I find it really interesting how Saladin's literally been there since the beginning, and the whole time he's been right in front of us. There's been a whole competitive PvP mode, we don't really think about it too much, but now we actually realise it's all been a training activity to prepare us, and now he's taking us out on to do PvE stuff and take out the Fallen. So that's pretty interesting. So my next question I didn't really expect much of a response from, but I asked them about the new raid and what kind of a gameplay experience we can expect, because we've had the 2 Hive raids, we've had a Vex raid, each of them are very different of course from each other. So I asked what kind of things can we expect in terms of a Fallen raid. Like I said, Bungie have always been very tight-lipped about the raids, so I didn't expect much of an answer. So all he could tell me is that at its core it's a brand new raid, and everything we could expect from a raid will be there. So we're going to go in blind for the first time, we're not going to have a clue of who we're facing, and of course going to wipe over and over again until we figure out how to defeat the bosses. He said that it will absolutely deliver on the essential promises of what we expect from a raid, and this is no different. We're going to go into an enemy stronghold, destroy the source of their power and reap the rewards. Now when he said destroy the source of their power, I'm guessing that means we're going to destroy Siva, or maybe even the Fallen boss who's manipulating Siva. Of course you don't know much about that whole storyline, but it makes me wonder if maybe the final raid boss will be Fallen or actually Siva itself, or maybe a combination of both. Like I said, don't ever expect Bungie to go out details of a raid, but it's always good to know to get the reassurance that it's going to deliver on what we know and love from a raid. So my next question was about the gear we're going to be earning and the new weapon foundry we spotted, like the Nadir, the machine gun, and what can we expect in terms of gear in this expansion. He said that sometime in the summer they're going to be taking a closer look at the new arsenal of weapons, and they've got new legendaries, new exotics, and new endgame activities to earn those rewards. He emphasised the idea of becoming an Iron Lord. Now it's going to be a ritual we take part in. The most interesting thing to me was about the Iron Lord aspect. We've heard Bungie mention this a few times, and it's sounding like there's going to be a new endgame activity involving and honouring the Iron Lords and actually becoming one. Of course these Iron Lords are all dead apart from Saladin, so we ourselves are actually going to become the new Iron Lords, and it seems there's going to be some kind of new endgame activity revolving around that. If I was to go into my pure speculation, I was thinking how awesome it would be if the Iron Lord endgame was some kind of like Horde mode where we defend the areas against the Fallen like the Iron Lords used to, or maybe the Fallen try and take back Felwinter's Peak every now and again, we have to keep defending it from their invasion, or maybe there could be an Iron Lord faction where we gain rep from them similar to the Iron Banner, and we get packages that drop gear, and maybe there's actually a reputation with the Iron Lords, but it definitely seems to me that there's going to be something involving the Iron Lords and actually becoming them. So those are some of my ideas. In my next question, I asked if the Plaguelands would be an extension to the Cosmodrome or its own separate area, and what can we expect from patrol there. He confirmed that it is an extension that takes place beyond the wall, so when you go into Earth and see Old Russia, you'll see a massive map that is now the Cosmodrome and the Plaguelands next to each other, and also it will have its own patrol launch icon or landing zone, the little green icon you click to launch the patrol. The Plaguelands have its own one in addition to the Cosmodrome, so essentially Earth will have 2 patrol icons. In terms of things to do, of course it will be like the Dreadnought, it will have its own secrets and treasures, which is good to hear. I'm personally hoping it is very similar to chess on the Dreadnought. That was my favourite thing about the area, and I think the Dreadnought is the most well done patrol area in Destiny. I'm personally not a fan of the whole kind of alien hive dark Dreadnought theme, which is why I definitely cannot wait to get back to Earth. I really love the area, but my favourite thing about the Dreadnought was those chests and keys. You got the Agonarch rune, the Skyburner's codes, and the Worm Feeder's runes. There's a lot of stuff to do there, and it really felt like you were in a hive homeworld, so I'm hoping the Plaguelands feels the same but in a Fallen way. So finally I asked about the Gjallarhorn and how it will fit into the year 3 balance wise. He started by saying the sandbox team, who are in charge of course balancing the game, will be tireless and making sure nothing is out of line, and of course if anything does need a nerf they will do that, including the Gjallarhorn of course. But he did want to emphasise how the Gjallarhorn will still pack a punch and it still will be a very good rocket launcher, but he hopes it will never feel like it's necessary or required in order to complete a mission. To me that kind of sounds like it won't be the best in terms of DPS, and they probably have turned the damage down a little bit. I do think it will be overshadowed by some other weapons. I think it seems like Bungie's main incentive was to bring it back for nostalgia and for players to use the most famous weapon in Destiny's history again, and it's usable with year 3 light level. So I'm imagining it's going to be a good rocket launcher, but the main thing to bear in mind is that you're going to get this thing from a quest which everyone can get, and it's probably going to be very easy. So everyone who gets this thing, they probably aren't going to hand out the best weapon in the game in a quest just as easy as that. So that's one thing to bear in mind, but it's definitely interesting to see how it does perform compared to year 1. So there is a quick chat with Deej about Rise of Iron and some things to expect. Like I said, no breaking news because of course the expansion is still 3 months away and they plan on revealing more over the coming months in the summer. So comment down below your thoughts on all things we've discussed. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like rating, I'd appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.